what's happening. So the point I want to make is that the training is not something that that you kind of get a badge for, and then that's it. No, the training is something you'll never get over. So that's the end of the Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. I don't work for this company, and nothing to do with them. I just did the training 20 years ago, and it works. I couldn't believe how well it worked until very recently. So, um, didn't see any of these recreated. So it was a non-video, just like a still picture. Um, Plus, now I have these um, ways to word things that seem to speak to a phenomenon that I had experienced. And when I had shared this way of speaking with other people, it made the phenomenon present to them as well, to the point that they say, yeah, that's what I've been trying to talk to you about. So this following took place in Newport Beach, California. Participant says, Lana says, my question tonight is that in my life, I sometimes find myself doing things that I really don't want to do, but I'm not aware of that until I'm involved. Can the training help me with that? The director says I really like that question. Honest to God question, not questions that people make up out of their concepts, but straight out of a person's life. And I really want to thank you for asking an honest to God question. And I want you to know that I don't have a pat answer for you. It's kind of like a little bit like I'd like to have a give and a take. Maybe I'm going to respond out of my experience in the training and my observation of other people who've done the training, and maybe you'll have something you want to say back to me. I don't want to give it to you like I don't have a pat answer, and I wouldn't want to give it one to you anyway if I could think of one. But I want you to note that the training is kind of a remarkable in this respect. Freud discovered that a lot of counterproductive behavior in people's lives, a lot of the nutty things that they did, came from experiences which were counterproductive because they were held in the unconscious. Counterphobia. See, a lot of people misunderstood what Freud said. A lot of people think that negative emotion experiences of your childhood was what Freud discovered to be the source of suffering in adulthood. That isn't what he discovered at all. He didn't discover that. He discovered that experiences, that certain kinds of experiences, which when held in the unconscious memory, produce counterproductive behavior in people's lives, got them to do automatically things they didn't want to do. Now, that was Freud's discovery. We actually have discovered another phenomenon parallel to Freud's discovery. We discovered that in this training, that this is, and it's very much more kind of a general thing rather than being some kind of problem of psychiatry. The training is not psychiatric. It's really more of a life kind of a thing. And what we've discovered is that which is for that which you are unaware. See, not unconscious. Unconscious is like it happened to you and you can't remember it. That about which you are unaware, that for instance, I've been snowboarding, and I can remember when I first got on a snowboard, my consciousness narrowed down to about this. Same with surfing. And then I noticed I got a little bit better at snowboarding or surfing, and it got out to here. And finally, I had a big breakthrough one day, and I really haven't gotten much further than that. Be able to ride down the whole slope without falling, ride the wave without falling. But anyway, it was a big breakthrough. So in other words, the scope of my consciousness expanded. One of the things that you'll find in the training is that things that have kind of been using up your consciousness, mostly mental things, kind of in the back of your head. If you sit still, you can hear that voice, that thing kind of quiets down after the training, and your sense of consciousness is expanded. That it's not that you see something new, it's just that you take a bigger picture. And I think people would tell you, with respect to that question, that you ask that after the training, you're kind of, instead of being like a player in life, this happens and 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 this happens, instead of being that sense, you begin to have the sense of yourself as a space in which it's happening. You can kind of you're with yourself almost. You not you're not peering at yourself, but being with yourself, and you can kind of see you're about to put your foot in it usually. What's your first name? Lana. Lana. The other thing is that I don't want to pretend it's that you, once you've done the training, that you don't ever put your foot in it, because I know you put your foot in it after the training a lot. I put my foot in it plenty. But one of the things which I really feel I have developed out of my experience of the training is developed quite naturally, in fact, is that while I put my foot in it, I can almost instantly catch myself, and invariably I'm big enough now to admit it. See, in the old days, it was so important to me to be right all the time, to look good all the time. I was so afraid of, I don't know what's losing people's approval, losing my own approval. I was so afraid of not making it that I couldn't tell one on myself. I couldn't say, hey, something, I just lost my temper with you, and that's stupid, and I apologize. And what's the real point of this discussion? Let's get at it. You know, I couldn't do that in the old days. I noticed that whatever it is I'm able to do now, I'm able to do that now. So I think yes, that the training does expand your sense of space, so that you have a sense of not of just being this thing here operating in this set of circumstances, but you have the sense of being the space in which you are operating. So you're literally being with yourself. And then, even when you do put your foot in it, you have a greater capacity to respond intelligently. So, anything more you want to say about that? Lana says, well, I was just going to say that sounds like what I want, to be more aware. Director says, I want to give you a little idea of what's it like in the training. First off, training is a very exciting place to be. There's something really happening in it. And the training is done in an atmosphere of real dignity. It's done in an atmosphere not of like politeness. It's not done in an atmosphere of social grease, the typical kind that we have. But it's done out of a sense of real compassion for what people are doing it, what for the people who are doing it. The men and women who lead the conversation and inquiries in the training start out as trainer candidates, already with a professional background of some type. They've either been executives or attorneys or psychologists or psychiatrists or medical doctors. Most of them have some kind of professional background before they become trainer candidates. It now takes us the least amount of time that it takes people to train to be trainer candidates is 3 years. On an average, would be a bit more than that. Whoever do your training would have no less than 4 years of combination of experience and training, and many trainers have been trainers and therefore experience of 7, 8, 9 years. So the people who are doing the training are very highly qualified to do the training. There are a couple of aspects of becoming a trainer that are really very fundamental in the process of becoming a trainer, and it's perhaps one of the most important of those aspects is to have a real insight into the validity and dignity of people. As you know, you and I know, lots of times we are not very dignified in a very real way. We may be dignified in an outward way, but I mean, not in an inward way. I mean, all of us have the experience, perhaps from time to time. In fact, I didn't want to say perhaps all of us have the experience from time to time of being a little small, petty, kind of me first, ungenerous. Lots of people are afraid that's who they are. As a matter of fact, if you examine people very carefully, we've had the chance to examine thousands and thousands of people. You may find many of us are the person we put out in the world so as to hide the person we're afraid we might be. The person we most want to hide, that person we're afraid we might be, the person we most want to hide that from is ourselves. So we're running very fast on this kind of treadmill to keep our best foot forward, to look at ourselves like a good guy or a good gal. And lots of people are afraid to take the training because they're afraid to find out who they are. They literally are afraid they may be this person that been attempting to hide. As I say, most particularly attempting to hide from themselves. One of the things you discover in the training is that you are really three people. You are the person that you put together that makes combs his or her hair, puts on the right clothes, knows how to say things correctly, has been educated to whatever degree you've been educated, and knows how to get along in life, and wants to look good, and wants to gain other people's approval, and wants to be successful, and wants to be right, but doesn't want to be seen as overly ambitious. That whole thing. That's kind of the one we put out there. That whole thing. That's kind of the one we put out there. That's kind of the one we put out there. And you do come face to face in the training with the person that you're afraid you are. You get to experience that very directly and very straightforwardly. You get to experience all of your own foolishness, all of your own pettiness, all of your own smallness, all of your own lack of integrity, and you come to grips with it in a very honest way, and that's one of the things about the training. The training is a very safe space. See, the training is actually done in privacy of your own experience. In other words, we don't drag out for view all of your own pettiness and et cetera, et cetera. But you have the space, the opportunity, the freedom to actually examine yourself, to take a look at yourself very honestly, to come face to face with yourself. The interesting part about it is that, in the training, some people share, some people never share during the training. The training works just as well for people who've gotten up and shared as for people who don't. But oftentimes, the biggest glimpse, one of the most important glimpses you'll get into yourself, one of the most important sights you'll get into seeing yourself in somebody else, seeing yourself in somebody else who you think is an absolute fool. It's a very sobering experience and a very exciting experience too. By the way, because in the training you kind of also get to that third person who you really are. And at any rate, the trainers, the people who are conducting the training have a profound sense of that ultimate self, your ultimate self. And they are doing the training out of that profound sense of your ultimate self. So the training's not done in and with a kind of a so the training is not done with an agreed on dignity. This training is not. It's done. It's not done with a ceremonious dignity. Oh, okay. So the training is not done with an agreed upon dignity. Agreed on dignity. It's not done with a ceremonious dignity. It's done with true dignity. The dignity wherein you are recognized for who you really are. The training is also done at the level of self determination. No one does anything to you in the training. The training is something you do yourself. The trainer makes the opportunity for you to do it. It's not that the trainer knows something that you need to know, or that if you knew you'd be all right. It's that the trainer knows that you know something that if you knew it and you knew that you knew it, it would substantially alter the quality of your life. So you see, the training is often about the things you already know, but it's about knowing them in a way that actually makes a difference. Some people want to know how come the training works for everybody. It's very simple. The training is already inside you. It's not something you get that gets added onto you that you then carry around with you. That stuff's pretty worthless anyhow. Everybody knows the stuff you add on to yourself eventually falls off you, falls away if you don't reinforce it. The training doesn't need any reinforcement, so there's no ideology, there's nothing that you join, you don't belong to something, you aren't co-opted, you don't suddenly start sounding like me, you start suddenly sounding more like you. That's why the training works for everybody, because it's already inside you. It's like where my friends on the left coast, on the west coast in San Francisco, sometimes that bridge that goes from San Francisco across the Golden Gate, it's hidden in the clouds, but it's there and it's big. The wind comes along and sweeps the clouds away. It doesn't put the bridge there, but suddenly you can see it. Training works like that. Some people are afraid of being conned. No, they're not. Not really. People are afraid that other people will think that they have been conned. That's very bad. People are very frightened that other people will think or find out that they've been taken in. Listen, this is the training. You go home tonight and take a minute to look at how much of your behavior is really motivated, how much of your interactions with other people, how much of the way you are in life is really motivated by a desire to make sure that nobody thinks you've been taken in or conned. You watch how much of what comes out of your mouth in your interaction with other people is to prove to them that you know you haven't been conned, you haven't been taken in, you aren't a sucker. If that isn't a sucker, I don't know what is. Who the hell else would be avoiding would be who else would be avoiding being a sucker? You're a sucker anyhow. I told you this in the training almost. People say they'll call me bad names in the training. No, they'll tell you the truth in the training. So I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is, you've been conned. You don't have to worry about being conned. You've been conned. You are conned. I'll tell you the biggest con there is. It's a societal, cultural con. It goes with the species. The con that is something or someone or someday that you are going to be happy. And if you take a look, our whole culture is based on that. As soon as you get married, then you'll be happy. That doesn't work. As soon as you get divorced, then you'll be happy. As soon as you get educated, you'll be happy. As soon as you become the vice president, you'll be happy. As soon as you become the head of the department, you'll be happy. As soon as this happens, you'll be happy. If you can if you can only have more money, then you'd be happy. Longer vacations, then you'd be happy. Shorter work hours, then you'd be happy, or whatever it is. That's an absolute con. You aren't ever going to get happy. Now, you don't need to go to the training. Now you know. See, this is it. You think it's gonna work out. No, it did. And this is the way it worked out. You don't like it. Shame on you. my buddy had the opportunity to be with and learn from a man who until 1988 was Japan's foremost living Zen master, man by the name of Yamada Mumen Rashi. Very beautiful, old, lovely, radiant human being. The end of my stay with him, the end of his stay with him, he did a series of calligraphies, brush paintings, characters, ideographs. He was also considered one of Japan's foremost calligraphers. One of the calligraphies is the sign for happiness, and the caption underneath it, also in Japanese ideographs, is "I don't want it." See, he isn't conned. His life is not about getting happy. He isn't organizing what he does in order to get happy. If you don't like happy, put in another word you want to put behind it. Free, fun, healthy, wealthy, wise. His life is an expression of who he is. And that's the experience of transformation. It's what the training is about. You're being conned out of the training, not into it. The training is offered at 35 all around the world, on every continent except Antarctica, US, Canada, Britain. This is where they've done programs. So, trainings. They've done live trainings in 35 cities around the world, in 5 different countries, probably way more than that, in over a dozen different countries. Training is offered not only in the United States, Canada, and Britain. We've done programs on the continent in France, in Britain, on the continent in France, Sweden, Germany, Switzerland. The training is done in India. There's an enormous demand for the training in India, way bigger than we could have ever come close to satisfying. And we just recently completed our first training in Israel. And this is, I don't know, 1980. When is this? I said in the last video, 1982. We've done the training in the fifth grade classroom in May Watts. We've done the training in all black training. Done an all-black training in Oakland, California, Harlem, New York. We've done training for people of only Hawaiian descent in Hawaii. We've done the training in various prisons, in the Alderson Women's Prison, in the Lompoc Federal Penitentiary, in the Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary in San Quentin. San Quentin, by the way, is the kind of penitentiary where the guards are tougher than the inmates. In most prisons, than the inmates in most prisons. Got it. And they better be. You go into San Quentin and do the training, and they ask you to sign a release that says that if you're taken hostage, they don't trade anything for you. The trainers get an additional training in a place like San Quentin. Training has been done with city governments. The training has been done with rural city populations. The training has been done in medical school for residents and medical students. This training has been done in lots for lots of police officers, over 500 members of the Los Angeles Police Department, both active and retired. For example, are graduates of the training. I want to tell you a little bit about the kind of people who've done the training. The youngest person ever to take the training was 5 years old. The eldest person to ever take the training at the time she took the training was 96 years old. My father-in-law did it at 74. 11,000 people back in as of 1982. 11,000 people were 55 and over when they took the training. 18,000 people were 17 and younger. 1 out of every 10 graduates, that's 26,000 people, is an educator. 1 out of every 8 graduates is a manager or executive. That's 28,000 people. 5,000 people are in the legal profession. 1 out of every 15 graduates is in the health profession, a doctor, a nurse, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, like that. The average graduate has the equivalent of 15.5 years of education. And obviously our graduates range in age, graduates range in education from having none, from not having gone to high school, where many of the inmates in the prisons were, to the people who were internationally famous for their intellect and their academic prowess. The average, however, as I said, is 15.5 years of education. 1 out of every 4 graduates has an advanced degree, a master's degree, a doctorate, or professional degree. There are 5 million graduates as of today of the training. There are 1,000 new graduates on every week, approximately 50,000 new graduates a year. There's an average of 630 to 135 graduates in every congressional district in the United States. And that 1 out of every 800 people in the country is a graduate. Then to the Music Hall in Houston, Texas. I first want to give you a bit of a picture of the training itself. There will be 75 people in a Zoom video call, or depending on the size of the room, that what limits the size of the training is the size of the room. Usually the maximum that we want in the training is 350 people, so that we can establish a certain relationship and a certain feeling in the group, so that the person who sits at this corner of the training is not so far away from the person who sits in this corner of the training, and that they can see each other, at least in the Zoom room, and kind of get a sense of each other. But I guess is that the room there will hold about 75 people. There'll be about 75 people sitting, much like they're sitting in your house or wherever you're watching this from. So about the youngest people in the training will be teenagers. It could be somebody in their 90s. They'll probably be at least someone, let's say 4 or 5 older people, or that some of us consider older. I've talked to them. They'll always consider other people older. This thing is always relative. But there'll be maybe 1 or 2 people who sit up at the front. I don't know if that happens in a Zoom room, but if it's in person. And there'll be people with hearing loss who don't hear well. Will be organized to have them make sure that they can hear well and have the trainer be readily. If it's done in person, it's done in padded chairs, the ones that they can stack, and the platform will be about this high, just so that they can see everyone in the back of the room. There'll be people sit in the back of the room or the back of the Zoom call during the time of the whole training, because anybody with a medical problem who has to take medication on a regular basis, Okay, so you sit in the back room, anyway, so you'll have that. If and done in person, it's rarely done in person. Zoom is perfectly amazing. Make sure they take it on a regular basis. Take your, stay on top of your medication. If you take medication, some people have diabetes, need to eat more regularly. They'll be sitting with plenty of access to wherever they're taking it from, or on the Zoom call from. If you have a medical problem, make yourself available to a bathroom if you need be. Very important to talk about the bathroom. So interesting to have people with the same questions they had people interested as kindergarten might ask them their first day of school. First day of school, when is my mom going to pick me up? So the training starts at 8:30 in the morning, I believe. I don't know if it's a little later than that. And then get out late in the evening after 9 o'clock in the evening. Second day starts relatively the same time. First morning, you should get there a little earlier to get, the Zoom call turned on and everything and be seated, ready to go. If you're driving anywhere beforehand, get yourself there, plenty of time to get parking. Usually people have eaten before they've come in the morning. There's a meal break during the day and long enough meal. Some people bring a meal with them. Some people go out for a meal. The meal break is long enough for people to get the meal. And then when they get home at night, they can have a meal. Your third meal, unless you're more tired than hungry, in which case maybe go to sleep early. There's a bathroom break. There's the other. That's the second thing. You wouldn't know where's the bathroom. You're doing it from a Zoom call. So wherever they do it in person, they'd show you. All the kindergartners don't want to know in the first day of school, where's the bathroom break every 4 hours. People want to know that in the training, and that's happen to be deliver the data. The trainer will be delivering data. They'll deliver it, some of the data, but not quite in the way that I've delivered it in the training. See, for instance, if you I'm going to give you a piece of data from the training, and this comes from the first day, the first half of the first day. Trainer will say, your life doesn't work. And your mind will click into gear about, yes, it does. And I'll tell you what, I got this and I got that. And you can't tell me what, and how do you know anyhow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I've actually said that a couple times tonight in this video or the previous one, but I've held the velvet glove on with you so far. You see, so I haven't said it really kind of that penetrated too much. Now you see, you're just listening to me and you're able to handle my little intrusions pretty nicely. Well, it's too bad you don't get away with it in the training. You do not. Thank you. You don't get away with it in the training. No kidding. You scramble and try to run, you don't get away. The reason you don't get away is not because the trainer's clever, but that you have a real commitment to get what the training is about. But the training is a remarkably exciting place. I mean, whole big stretches of your life come into view, and suddenly they fall into place, and you can understand things in your life which you've only been explaining heretofore. But I want to be real clear that it's all a function, and this whole process that we've set up for enrollment is also a function of real commitment to the quality of your life. And so this enrollment process is the enrollment process is not to get clear about the training. You are never going to get clear about the training. Even after you do it, you won't be all that clear. The doubt that you need to sort out in this video in order to register yourself in the training is not the doubts about the training. It's the doubts, if you've got any, about your own commitment to the quality of your life. Now, some of you came here to this video already determined that you were going to enroll in the training, and no matter how bad I was, it doesn't make any difference. You're going to enroll anyhow. It's another group of people who came tonight with the sense that they wanted to enroll in the training, and they just wanted to get kind of a little bit better sense about it, perhaps be with some graduates some more, perhaps have the time while I was talking to kind of let it settle with you, and that has now been settled for you. So those two are handled. Those two groups are handled. I'll tell you what to do in a moment. You can go to register. Then there's a third group of guests who came to this video who are now agonizing about, oh, this and oh, yes, I would like to, but I have this problem. And then there's the money. And then what about if I don't have the time and I work on the weekends? And gee, what if it doesn't work and they might not let me go to the bathroom and I have to eat all the time, and I know whatever other nonsense that. And there are some people who are afflicted with this disease called procrastination and seems to run their lives. You know, people have to think it over and see. One of the things that you'll find in the training is that when what you think doesn't have anything to do with the outcomes in life. So if you're for some people, the hardest part of the whole training, as terrible as it is enrolling in the training. Please don't make it that way for yourself. It would be stupid if I didn't tell you that. I know it's difficult. I don't mean to be silly about it. I know it's not a nothing choice to make. I know it's a profound choice to make. And I know that you get up on the edge and it's kind of like teetering on the edge of a diving board, you know? You get right up there on the edge, and yeah, you want to go in. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing on the diving board? But gee, it looks like a long way down there, and maybe the water's cold, and maybe I shouldn't do this. But after all, I'm up here to do it. Well, let me first off tell you, and I tell you of this, out of this, out of the experience of 5 million people, the water's fine. And second off, the way to get off the board is to step out. The rest of it takes care of itself. And what I mean by that, see, it's interesting. One of it's really very, very interesting. If you want to take the training and there's something stopping you, take a look and see if that's the thing, if that thing that's stopping you, not the circumstance, not this particular circumstance, but this quality in your life is this thing that's stopping you. See if isn't if that isn't exactly the thing you want to get handled in the training. So, and let me tell you that the instant you register in the training begins and you begin to handle that thing. See, when you register for the training, you are taking a definite and positive step toward handling those things which have been handling you subtly. Maybe not that you can't explain them away, but those things which have been subtly shaping your life. When you register in the training, you take a positive step toward handling those things which have been handling you. Definitely, like, remember getting more organized, like cleaning up right after I scheduled for the training, because that's something I said that I wanted to get out of it. So I registered, and then immediately I started doing that exact thing. The way to register for the training, if you've got a problem or a barrier or a consideration or some whatever it may be, to handle that is register first. Then, in the space of having registered, then handle the problem. And you'll find that you've got the strength and the wherewithal and the insight now to handle the problem. You are watching this video and you want to take the training and you've got a problem. You're still a little skeptical. You're still a little uncertain. Your way for concerned about your financial security, whatever it may be, registering for the training or register for the training, whatever it may be. Get that done. And in that space, you'll have the wherewithal to handle the problem. The training starts when you register for it. It's that simple. The people who directed you to this video, or having searched for it, well, someone, you wouldn't have searched for it unless you heard about it, but the graduates know that the training is a profound, remarkable experience. And their purpose in directing you to this video comes out of their regard for you. Comes out of, yes, and I'll say it in public, their love for you. And the person who invited you to watch this or directed you to Google that or whatever here invited you because they want you to take the training. It doesn't make a difference to them, and they want you to take the training. They do want to share this profound and remarkable experience with you out of their knowing what kind of contribution the experience makes to the lives of people and out of their relationship with you. Yes, as I say, out of their love for you. See, all my life, I knew I had something to contribute. I knew I had something useful to do, but I could never kind of get the support I really needed. I mean, I really couldn't get the support I really wanted from people I worked with or from my family or my friends. About 9 years ago to 20 years ago is I don't know. I discovered how come I couldn't get the support. I'm constantly learning, discovering how I can't get support from certain people. And since that time, I haven't gotten a ridiculous, enormous, magnificent amount of support. Yeah, I mean, like 20 years ago. Yeah, okay. So I can remember sitting with my friends and me wanting their support and them being like, I just graduated and I don't want to do whatever your plan is, Lee. So then I did it, and that was 20 years ago. And yeah, since then I've been finding people who want to play in the sandbox and not like trying to force people to do it. And if anyone has failed force, I've not intended that to be forceful. Merely just listening for and reliably delivering that which really makes a difference for people and truly matters for people. And so what I discovered about 20 years ago was that I wasn't being supported because I wasn't supportable. Real simple. See, if you said to me, gee, this is something I did, I thought it was great, and I would say, yeah, that was fine for you. And if I said, well, I'd like to do this thing, but I've got this problem, and you came up with an answer, I'd say, yeah, but there is no way you could do anything for me. You could not do anything for me. I did everything on my own. I never did anything anybody wanted me to do or anything anybody asked me to do. I was literally unsupportable. I always had an answer. I could never give another human being the privilege of contributing to me, of contributing to my life. I wasn't big enough to share that opportunity with someone else. I couldn't tolerate doing something where someone else could say, I contributed to this person's life. And if you're a guest, be big enough. If you haven't done the form yet, be big enough and watching this video, be supportable. Now back to Newport Beach, California. Good evening. I'm one of those persons that you were speaking about an hour ago or so who has been suffering. Okay, so this is a participant saying this, suffering along with a very, very good friend who's been telling me about this and been telling you and telling you and made it even harder is that he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. So the director says, yes, I understand. People see some kind of a fervor in a graduate. The fervor's there, not to the extent that people think that it is, but albeit there. So I understand. Well, I took your advice and helped me end both of our miseries this evening. Okay. Back to the participant. Oh, whose name is David. So what was your first name, David? So I'm registered for the training. My question is, I have significant apprehension. Yes, my apprehension specifically is this. I've been in many situations. I'm 40 years old, so I've lived my particular life for about 106 years. Right. And that's they want to write that down. Hold on a second. That's great. That'll be in the training soon. So I've been in a variety of situations, and some of which have made me feel very alive and very fulfilled, and some of which have made me experience pain. When I'm visualizing what I signed up for, I'm visualizing something that has been rumored regarding the training that seriously now I will be the person who, as part of the training, will have my very inner private soul bared to a dispassionate trainer in front of 200 strangers. Okay, that's my question. Is that going to happen? I'm ready, but I hope you're going to be there. You're all going to be there. That's good, David. Uh, Listen, I want you to know something. I'm really pleased with the question because I know it's a question in the back of lots of people's minds. And I prefer to answer the question after someone has enrolled. Obviously, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what I don't prefer to do and answer it before lots of people here. But you see, you've really handled that aspect and your willingness to confront that aspect. In other words, in my view, you had the opportunity to make a choice about whether that kind of personal pain that you're speaking about and the very kind of intimate personal pain is more the avoidance of that, is more important to you than the quality of your own life. And I have to tell you that the way in which you've answered that question is already enormously valuable. And I suggest that you will find you will find the values of that in the coming days before you ever get into the training. So I just have to validate that, and I have to acknowledge that, because it's something for which I have a lot of respect, and it's not just a kind of personal respect. It's something which I want to share the opportunity, and it's an opportunity I would like to share with other people, and I think you've done really brilliant job of doing that, and I appreciate the good humor with which you've done it as well. But now let me try to get to the quality and the training. The training will almost undoubtedly reach you deeper in than you, and I don't want to say that any experience has, because I'm going to assume a guy who's lived 106 years that has been like you, and I have been gotten to a couple of times, but I want you to know that the training will reach very deeply inside you, but it will do it in a very different way than other things that have reached deeply inside you. It will reach at those sore spots or points of pain. It will penetrate into them. And you should know that the training is hardball. It's no kidding. It's after the truth. And it gives you the opportunity to get at the truth, but it does it in a very interesting way. The training will not get inside the depths of you. You will get inside the depths of you with an objectivity. Now, I really want you to get this part, with an objectivity which you perhaps is not have had available to you in other situations, which got deeply into the painful aspects of one's psyche. So I really want to try to get this across. It's a little technical and I apologize for it, but it's a good opportunity to get some technical data, which I think is useful for some people watching this video, and those who don't like it, too bad. The normal course of events, when you get down inside yourself, what is that tissue is something which you'll hear more about in the training, called survival. If you take a look at your own depths, out of your own need to survive, your view of those things makes them persist. In the training, you will look at certain aspects of yourself, certain experiences of yourself, certain views of yourself, certain senses about yourself, but you will look at them with nothing at stake. I mean, the training is designed, and the trainer knows how to create for you the opportunity to be with yourself in such a way that you just take a look at it. You will find that the grip that those things have had on you will disappear, even though the memory of them will not. In other words, they'll still be there for you, but they won't have any effect on you. The other aspect of the training is that the training will touch you profoundly in that place, which is the exact opposite of sensitive or tender, but it will touch you. I promise you. And I don't make that promise generally. Oh, for you in particular. Promise you, David. I don't make that promise generally, but out of my experience, what David, said, I can tell you that the training will touch you very deeply, and it will touch you profoundly. And when the trainer and the other people in the training and you are together, you will be touched in a way that will move you very deeply, in a way over which you will never get. David, the training is an experience over which people never get. I hope everyone go on. Peace and love. Bye-bye.